physical senses, they tell us, they report to us about reality. But unless we know how to take that information in the right context, the information coming in from the senses is actually fooling us about reality. It's giving us a fake version of reality. Because if we only consider the information from the senses, then we're only considering the things that are outside of us. And we're not realizing that there are other organs that we have that are also sense organs. They're just not senses in the sense that they don't measure the physical. The heart is also a sense organ, but it senses emotions. It senses angels. It senses spirits. It's a different type of sensing. The kidneys can sense. The kidneys can tell truth from fiction simply by testing the information within the molecules to its nature. The nature of the kidneys gets offended by a lie. This is how it says by Avraham Avinu. Nasi shtekil Yosef kishte rabbonim emilamdes oisoi Torah. How did Avraham Avinu know the Torah? There was no one to teach him. Nobody knew the Torah. Shem ve'ever taught him wisdom, but wisdom was in the form of the knowledge of how reality works. The stars, the zodiac, the planets, the rotations, how the different forces balance each other out in order to create what we are experiencing. All the different dimensions are being balanced by the cycles of the stars. And this is the wisdom of the Creator, that by doing this, simply keeping everything exactly to its rotation, nothing deviates even for a tiny bit. By doing this, He's developing the most intelligent species the universe has ever seen. And as they're going through these cycles, they're becoming more and more intelligent. The seichel is gaining depth, is gaining access to its own reality through the cycles of the stars that are continuing according to the preset settings that He set when He created life. And this is doing the exact work in order to create the species, not just us, but all the other species which are parts of us. When those angels operate without the cooperation of other angels, they create animals, they create plants, they create minerals. But then when all the angels cooperate together, only then we can have a human being that can speak and understand and relate to all the creatures that were created with these same angels. And so the senses are lying to us when they're representing that, oh, we're telling you reality and hey, this is all there is to it. We're telling you about reality, true, but so are many other organs telling me more important things that I need to be aware of, that I need to keep track of, that I need to give dibur to so that it becomes real. And if I won't give thought and I won't give dibur, only to the organs, only to the senses that are measuring the outside, then I'm erasing my capacity, I'm erasing my potential in this much more important area of existence. This area that continues with me after I leave. Because this is the truth about the senses. What you recorded with them goes with you, but what you're recording you can't take. Only the recording you get to keep. But whatever your sensors are telling you exists, you can't have. You can interact with it, you can record yourself interacting with it. That's as close as you can get to it. But the things that you have from the other senses, the ones that are really telling you about your reality, about your state of being, about where you are in the world, This is your spiritual GPS. Your kidneys are your spiritual GPS. Your heart is your spiritual GPS. If you're only listening to your senses, then you don't know if what you're doing is right and wrong. You have no way of knowing. Your mind can't tell it to you. A book can't tell it to you. It doesn't know. There's no way to apply it. Only a live soul, only a spirit that's alive in this moment can apply the meaning of the words in the accurate order according to the situation at hand. This requires a heart. This requires kidneys. This requires balance. And so the internal senses are much more important than the external senses, because the internal senses are not just telling you where am I as relates to the physical world, it's where am I in reality, in the place where I'm always going to be, in the place where I always was. Where am I in reality? This, only the spiritual senses can tell you. And they know very well. They take the pressure of that world. That's why they're senses. They're senses because they were designed to tune into that dimension. That's what the organ was designed for. Just like an eye was designed to see, a heart was designed to feel. It was designed not only to feel, it was designed to give life in accordance to what it feels. The heart gives life, but it doesn't give life always equal. It gives life based on what it senses is the truth. That's a sense that the heart has to know how much life am I going to give under different circumstances. This is what it was designed for. This is the vault of life itself. The Creator designed it. The nature of the heart, that's the voice of the Creator. The Creator says, under these circumstances, I allow the angels to give more life. Under these circumstances, I command the angels to give less life. Humanity has learned to play tricks with the angels. Humanity has learned how to fool the soul. And yet, the nature of the heart is still the ultimate will. We simply have to go back to Elohim baras Adam Yashar. We were designed to go straight. If we go straight, we can understand all the organs. Everything will make sense. Vehemo bikshu cheshbonos rabim. Mize vehemo? Hemo bikshu cheshbonos rabim. They asked for many calculations. Who is they? Hema is vehema ka'adam avru bris. Hema ka'adam avru bris is talking about the Migdal Bavel. Culture, society, civilization. Hema bikshu cheshbonos rabim. They decided to make it very complicated. Life was designed to be simple. Civilization decided to make life very complicated. All the cultures, all the 70 cultures, are purposely designed to make life very complicated. Why does life need to be complicated? Because people who are working and struggling through a complicated life are very easy to manage. They have no idea what's happening to them anyways. If people had the time to think what they really want, I bet some people would decide that this is not exactly what they want. But if they don't have the time because they just have to pay the bills, they don't even know what they want. They've long forgotten that want is even part of the equation. So then who wants? Because if it's happening, someone wants it. Otherwise, why is it happening? It's happening because Hema ka'adam avru bris miliska. They didn't remember the bris that we have with the Creator. They wanted to make life complicated. Complicated means that our brains are not going to be efficient. That we won't have time to listen to our real senses, the senses that tell us how we're doing with reality. And so when we pray, we're tuning into these senses. When we pray, we're tuning into the heart. What is prayer called? Avodah shebelev. That's why if we know the words, we close our eyes. We close our eyes because it's not about the senses now. the external senses. It's about the internal senses. And so he says, Amud HaTfilah, Ois Kuf Aleph, B'Tfilah tzorech liyos k'moi mufshit megashmiyos. When you pray, you have to remove yourself from the physical. How do you remove yourself from the physical? Disregard the physical senses for a moment. Disregarding the physical senses also means disregard every type of information they recorded. Otherwise, you're still busy with them. If you say, oh, my eyes are closed, but I'm just thinking about something I saw before, then it's still me looking at my eyes. No, not that either. Disregard your senses. Mifshit min hagashmius means don't look and don't remember what you saw. Don't listen to anything and don't remember what you heard. Then you can become mufshit min hagashmius. Then you can listen to something else. Listen, but don't listen with your ears. Listen with the ears of your soul. Look, but don't look with your physical eyes. Look with the eyes of your intelligence. And so in every aver, remove the orla, remove the external part that's blocking you from seeing the real thing, and realize that if you have this potential, the soul is listening. If the soul has an opening in the head in order to listen, it means that spiritually the soul is listening. So then disregard your ears for a moment and try to listen with your soul. What does the situation you're in sound like? What is your condition right now? Based on what you can hear with your soul, without your spiritual ears. What does life look like to you right now if you're not looking with your eyes and you can't remember anything or pull back anything that you previously saw with your eyes? What does life look like then? Then you're looking at life. Until then, you're looking at your eyeballs. That's not life. That's eyeballs. That's what they do. They record. Very nice. But now we want to look at life, not at eyeballs. And so, not what we're seeing and not what we ever saw. So we can see life. We want to look at life. This is called hispashtis hagashmius. Hispashtis hagashmius means you remove the dress and you remember yourself as what you are. He doesn't feel that he exists in the physical realm. If you forget that you exist in the physical realm, you will know what it's like to be spiritual, because there will be nothing of the physical anymore that's present in you, in your awareness. So then your awareness is completely spiritual. And then all of you is real. Because to the extent that you're imagining yourself physical, that's not real. That's your imagination. That's because you recorded something with the senses, therefore you imagine yourself a certain way. That's not who you really are. That we're going to wake up from. Whatever we see ourselves as, that's based on anything to do with the senses, is only a matter of time before we wake up from that. That's a dream. That can never be. Because you're not anything you can record with the senses in no way, shape, or form. There's nothing. There's no way. There's not even anything that gets close or goes in that direction. Nothing like that at all. Doesn't exist. So any type of identity that has anything to do with something that can be recorded with the senses is no identity at all. It's a dream. It's an illusion. And so behind that, he finds a real being that's been powering the illusion. That being is powerful. That being has infinite potential. The illusion is limited. It's been in a limited illusion, and that's been limiting its power. But beyond the illusion, there's infinite power. And so if we want to pray, it means we're going to now dictate to the universe. That's essentially what prayer means. We're going to create a will, and we expect the universe to comply. And so to do that, you have to at least believe in your power. If you don't believe in your power, then you're not really saying it in the first place, as far as the spirit is concerned. The heart is not committed to what it's doing, so then it's not really happening. When the heart makes a commitment, this is now a command that needs to be reckoned with. And then there's a process of how it will be reckoned with. What was said, how was it said, what type of heart, what was the emotion in the heart, what was driving that, what made it say those words, what's its general condition. And then there will be some type of a spiritual response. That's the nature of the soul. Just like now when I'm speaking to you, there's some type of a spiritual response, because after the words is different than before the words. That was my prayer, and it's being answered. And so he removes himself completely from any interpretation of self that has anything to do with the senses. The senses, as far as identity is concerned, are a complete lie. Everything coming in from there is a lie, as far as identity is concerned. It's not to be found there. וזהו, אם אין אני לי, מי לי. כלומר, כשאני עובר למדרגה של העדה וארגיש כלל, אם אני לי, היינו אם אני בעולם הזה עם לאו, בוודאי אין לי שום פחד ממחשב הזו, אז כאיזה מחשב הזו יקרב אליי, ויעשי מופשט מזה העולם. וזהו מי לי. אם אין אני לי, if I have no sense of self, then me li, who's going to bother me? I'm free. I'm completely free. Who's going to come after me over here? There's no one that can even enter. There's no door to that room. I'm free because I have no sense of self that you can offend. You can't belittle me. You can't hurt me because I don't exist. So when he's praying, he goes into a state of non-existence as far as the senses are concerned, and then what are you going to do to him over there? Who can touch him? If his senses are not being considered, then nothing can come over there to hurt him. Because let's say if there were no ears, then no language, no words, no meanings, nothing. That whole story came in through the ears. No sight, then there's no drawings, there's no colors. It goes back to nothing. It goes back to unity. It goes back to a life force that is infinite, without any ability to even be limited in any way. Who is going to limit it? Only through the senses are we penetrating its domain. We're painting and coloring and drawing and cutting and adding and subtracting with all kinds of instructions through the eyes and the ears. And then, of course, the life force is no longer excited to be there. The life force is like, what in the hell? How did I even get here? Why are they doing this to me? And so we need to liberate the life force by taking it back to its home. Where is its home? Somewhere the senses can't touch. That's where. It's giving life to the senses. Hooray! The senses should say thank you. Don't come in and ruin what's giving you life. Don't limit the flow by creating all kinds of interpretations and limitations. And so in order to do that, we have to go to a place that is not accessible to the senses. The senses have no access to that. Why? It's not the senses that are our enemies, of course. It's the ill will that has been created that's manipulating our senses. Someone wants something and therefore uses our senses, which is our weakness, to gain access to our hearts. So when we pray, we go to that place that's in our hearts, that's not allowed, no access to things that are not friendly. If non-friendly things will access this holy space, then the consequences will be less life. And so therefore we're not allowed to let that happen. Vazara Korev Yumas. Why Vazara Korev Yumas? What did he do? Because Haba laharga chashkem laharga. He's gonna go in there and desecrate the holy. Then where's life? There's gonna be less life. Less life? No. Okay. You should be the one that has less life. Then you want to destroy life? Give up your own. Don't destroy someone else's. This is the holy of holies. It says when a person doesn't remember which direction is Yerushalayim, meaning he no longer remembers the holiness of the truth, the holiness of the will of the collective, and what's the real way that we're supposed to act and we're supposed to interact. He no longer remembers in which direction to pray. He should create an intention in his heart that represents the Holy of Holies. Meaning, you've lost sight of the collective, reconnect to the collective by first reconnecting to your own heart. Pray towards that force, get along with that force first, then go looking for the collective. So if you don't know which way is Yerushalayim, you don't know where's the heart of the collective, you don't know where's the ultimate truth, look to your own heart first. Find that Kodesh HaKadoshim, liberate that Kodesh HaKadoshim first. Before you go do for the collective to help them gain more life, help the individual gain more life. He's also part of the collective. Give more life by becoming more alive. And so that place is holy. That place we cannot desecrate. That's the place that's beyond anything to do with anything recorded with the senses, and it's about our identity. It's about what we are. Yes, we misunderstand ourselves. Yes, we don't know how to say it. Yes, we don't know how to think, and we don't know how to feel, and it's all been manipulated and corrupted. And yet, we are that. We are the thing that we're trying to liberate. We are the one that we're all looking for. We are the truth. We're nothing else. We can be nothing else. We can misunderstand ourselves, but that doesn't make us less truth. We are the truth. What we're looking for is what we are. We're not looking for anything else. We've lost ourselves. And we need to find ourselves. Losing ourselves, that's the definition of Galus. Finding ourselves, that's the definition of Geula, of liberation. And that self is always there. If he's always there, how can we lose him? We don't lose him by losing him. We lose him by thinking he's also other things. And so finding him is not about finding anyone. You're already him. Finding him is about forgetting everything you think he is, because he's not. That's finding him. Finding him is only a process of forgetting. Because as soon as you've forgotten the wrong, as soon as you're out of the illusion, you'll know who you are, just like every animal knows who it is. It's only the stories you tell yourself that stand between you and who you are. And then you can't naturally be you any longer, because you're analyzing you, you're criticizing you, you're changing you, you're cutting, you're copying, you're pasting, you're playing around with you, and then there's no you. There's no one keeping track of you anymore, because the you is distracted, doing something to you, trying to be a different you. Trying to change you and improve you. And all these things don't apply to a human being. A human being is like a tree. You can't teach a tree how to make better fruit. If you put the tree in the right conditions, it will make wonderful fruit. That's the nature of a human being. If you put a human being in the right conditions, it will become a beautiful fruit. If you put a human being in the wrong conditions, it will not. And it doesn't matter what you're going to say to it either. The conditions are much more powerful than what's being said. What's being done to the child is ingrained much more deeply than the message that comes along with it. If we shout at a child, "Don't scream," it's more likely that he's going to scream after that. Because of what we did. What we said wasn't really the message that he got. And so the real identity, the real safety is hidden in a place that as long as we're alive, we have it. But are we burdening it with all kinds of nonsense? Are we dragging it down with all kinds of lies? Are we creating identities that are limiting the life force, that are reducing the desire for life? And so if I can come to a place where I'm completely free from all that, then no thoughts are going to come and bother me after that. The only reason thoughts come and bother me is because I'm in a predicament. I'm fighting for my survival based on my perception. And so the thoughts are constantly rushing one after the other in order to save me. Save me from my financial crisis, save me from an emotional crisis, save me in my relationship, save me in my practical needs, or whatever else I might be busy with that's important to me. The thoughts are there in order to protect me. Why are they protecting me? Because I told them there's a problem. I believed in the problem. Now they're coming to save me from my problem. And so if I don't have a sense of self, no thought is going to come and bother me. Why would he come and bother me? Who sent him? Where is he coming from and where is he going to? And so then there's no machshava zoros. Then all thoughts are coming directly from the soul in order to enhance the situation. Because why wouldn't the soul enhance its own situation? That's what it was designed to do. Who's going to come and bother me? If I think I'm something, if I identify as something related to the world of the senses, then I'm a nobody, I'm an illusion. I never was and I never will be. Because I think of myself as something that I can't be, and therefore, as long as I think that, I'm not. There's a potential for me to be, but I'm not using it because I've covered my spiritual vision with a lie. וזה שאומר, מה אני? כשאני לעצמי, when I'm to myself, and I believe that I'm something, מה אני, then what am I? I'm nothing. מה אני חושב, ומה העבודה חשוב ולפעמים יסברך שמו, then I'm not gaining much. כי אז יבלבלו את המחשב הזורס, then he's going to be filled with thoughts. וראיני כמו שאינני בעולם הזה, then it's like I really don't exist. כי כבריאת האדם בעולם הזה, היא לעבודת השם יסברך. The main work, the main creation of why a person came to the world is in order to give some type of a benefit to the source. If the source came out as you, it's because he felt that he's going to gain something from coming out as you. If there was nothing for him to gain by dressing up as you, he wouldn't waste his time, he wouldn't waste his energy. He wouldn't waste all the effort that goes into being you. And so if he's spending on you, it's because there's some type of a service that you do to the rest of the collective. You balance them out somehow, and therefore you need to be here. As part of this whole mix, we need you in order to finish the full circle. This is the same as in the body. All the organs are there because they all have the function that they need to do. If they weren't there doing their function, then the body wouldn't be the same body. And so the same way is everything that exists. There's some type of a balance that happens. There's some type of a spiritual interaction that's taking place between all of us that requires all of us and is based on all of us. And that's why we're all here. Even this little collective is different because of each individual, and it's specifically designed to be this way. And therefore these words, in this way, this experience, it can all only be with these exact details. There's no other way to create this. And so in every situation and in every creation, there's some type of a pattern that's being completed by all the parts. That's how the wisdom designed it all. And so a person comes into this world in order to serve the collective, meaning in order to be as much as himself as he can be, because that's what the collective needs from him. To the extent that we're not fully ourselves, to the extent that we're hallucinating while we're supposed to be living, then the collective doesn't get the service from us, and then there's a lack of balance in the world. And that results in some type of calamity. All the calamities come back to us, to our misbehavior, misunderstanding, the disconnection between our organs. We're not feeling our feelings. We're not really tuned into the situation. This is the root of all suffering, every suffering, in many different ways, because this resonates with all dimensions. That there's discord between the parts. And then it comes out in all kinds of funkiness that we can't even explain. How did this end up there? But from our das, from the way that we think and interact with life, till the way that our organs get the instruction from us, and from there to the entire cosmos, to all the different angels and all the different settings. Everything is getting energy, everything is getting instruction according to human interaction, according to how the human soul is directing the forces within the human body. והרי אין אני יוכל לעבוד דוידוסי מחשוב וזו סמבל ומלעשים, וגם מה שאמר חרמי נזל אם אני כאן יש לפרש על פי דרך זה. As it says, the main purpose of a person is to do the service. So when a person is not capable of doing the service because he is busy with his sense of self that he created in the external world, so then he no longer is playing the right game. And therefore it's like he's not existing. It's like there's no one doing his part. There's this beautiful harmony that's supposed to be taking place, but the players are distracted. And so it doesn't sound like a harmony at all. So it says that the expression, the Ma'amer Chazal, Im ani kan hakol kan, you can also learn in this way. I'm not sure which way he means it, but I can think of two ways. It's Im ani kan, if I'm properly here, meaning if I'm here spiritually, hakol kan, then I have access to everything, because then I'm my spiritual self, then I have everything. Or Im ani kan, if I think of myself as self, if I have a sense of self, a physical sense of self, hakol kan, then all the thoughts are disturbing me. But it could be also, in general, it just means Im ani kan, according to how the ani shows up, hakol kan, accordingly everything else will show up. Ois kov beis. כשישראל מספלגן עם מזדפקן את עצמם לשם יזברך, כל הנופק צענר אינה בנויס ציון, במלך שלמה, בתור שיתר לו אימוי. כלומר, מי שאינו רואה לייחד זה ולא נייכל לייצא. So it says, Tza'ena ira'ena. Tza'ena means some should leave, ira'ena, some should see. It says when we pray, we're getting closer to the yichud. We're getting close to the unification between creator and creation. And the nature that the creator originally formed for creation was that there's going to be two sides that are going to be at war within creation. Until creation is going to be complete, until creation is going to be fulfilled to its full potential, there's going to be a war between creation as it's becoming and the other side, the side that's against creation, the side that fights creation. And so this conflict is constantly happening. This has, obviously, we open the door to these forces when we interact with the Eitz Hadas Tov V'Ra. And these forces, they don't desire life. They don't like life. They don't want life. They are against life. They hate it. They believe it shouldn't exist. And that's what they do. They work for the angel that's against life, and that's their job, is to hurt life, to make life look bad, to make life look sad, to make life look difficult, to make life complicated so that people can't enjoy it. This is all their work. And so within their nature, the way that they're designed, because they hate life, they hate human reproduction. Anything to do with human reproduction is offensive to them. They hate human pleasure. If humans are having pleasure, it aggravates them. They hate any form of intimacy, of closeness, of deep bonds, relationships. They don't like that at all. And they're not capable of having those, because that's their nature. And so therefore, before there's a yichud, before there's a unification, there's an announcement. There's an announcement that says, Tza'eno ere'eno, Tza'eno, those who are offended by what's about to happen should leave now. Ure'eno, those who understand the sweet joy of what's about to happen should continue looking. So that's the announcement. Tza'eno. Whoever is not qualified to participate and it doesn't suit them, Yaitse should leave now. Whoever it's appropriate for, and finds comfort in it, yira, he should see, v'zeh re'enu. Ikesheshoyim ha'klipos kol zeh, when the other side hears this announcement, az roitzim heim levatl es odom hazeh b'tfilasoi. Then they don't want to leave. They want to destroy the capacity of this yichud to take place. So when there's an announcement that says Tzener Ener, the klipos, what do? They come and try to disturb this person's kavanah. They try to take away his desire, his connection, because he was becoming intimate with the spiritual. It was becoming real over here. Hey, scary. People are going to live. People are going to wake up. People are going to have intelligence. No, can't have that. Because then the other side will be no more. The other side is very afraid of being no more. And so when there's an announcement, there's an awakening of the other side. This is the root of all the Hilchas Tznius. Tznius is not about something being wrong with the human organs, chas v'sholem. That's what the other side would say. But Tznius is about the understanding that the other side is offended by everything holy. And therefore everything has to be hidden from the demonic. When there was no demonic, there was no need for tznius. In Gan Eden, there was no tznius. Everything was open because there were no demons. Once there were demons, then we needed to hide things because the demons are extremely offended by certain things. They can't handle it. It says everything the opposite of what they are. It says life. It says kindness. It says human pleasure. They can't stand these things. These things offend them to the depth of their heart. And so they just want to destroy his kavanah. They want to remind him something temporary, that he is seen or heard, something to do with the senses, something to do with the external world. And by doing that, they're going to distract him from what he was about to accomplish. V'chochom, someone who is wise, mizdavik b'havas v'yiras habayri yizbarach. That's exactly the time when he wakes up his emotion. He knows what's at stake. He knows how important it is that he gets it right. And so he awakens his love and his awe to the Creator. Through that, these klipos, they were created for a purpose. They're somehow creating balance in the world. The world wasn't ready for a great good, and therefore there were klipos who had to somehow balance out the equation. And so this balancing out of the equation has a divine will in it. There's something that's giving life, like the pasuk says, "Va'ato machayes kulam." You give life to all, including the klipos. So the klipos are creating a balance as long as we need a balance. This man, through the appropriate emotion that he is bringing to the Shekhinah, he's liberating her from some of that other side, from some of that burden that she's carrying, because there's a side that's constantly battling her, that's constantly trying to limit life, that's constantly trying to destroy life. So the Chacham is medavik b'hava v'yiras habayri yizbarach b'zeh mala netzotze achai shebetoch hamachshava hu. Through that, he brings back the particles of life that are within that thought. ואומר בליבוי, מה לי לדבק בחומריוס הדבר? What do I need to be concerned with physical sides of things? מוטב הדבק בחייסה שהוא כוח מכוחס השם יזברך, שהוא החוכמה, כמו שנאמר, כולם בחוכמה עשיסו. And so he goes to the root that creates all thoughts. And he says, even this thought was created by the wisdom in order to balance out creation. And so if this thought was created by the wisdom in order to balance out creation, then right here is the Creator talking. Even in this thought, he hears the wisdom of the Creator. He sees how the Creator created reality in a way that it challenges itself in order to improve its capacity, in order to improve its own intelligence. Reality is becoming more and more intelligent as time goes on because there's an internal process that's driving that. This is why we call HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that when we say the bracha, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is choinen adas, meaning that every moment you're receiving a new form within your das, within your perception, he is the one that gave that to you. Because it was his design. There's no one else that has access to those sides of the equipment. No one else can design the formula that's going to result in how the entire body and the information coming in from their senses is going to result in das, is going to result in perception. No one can access that type of intelligence. Only the Creator. And so he is the choinen adas. He is constantly giving you another perception, and another perception, and another perception. Each time based on a very specific formula that nobody could have created other than him. This is the secret sauce. That's what makes us so special. It's not the parts that we have. It's the intelligence that can somehow gather all those parts and create an experience from it. And so that intelligence, that's the root of life speaking. The root of life overcomes all the obstacles to life. Life is becoming so alive that all the obstacles to life are going to disappear. Life itself, the intelligence within life is going to make them disappear. So wherever there's an appearance of intelligence, the demons have to leave. The owner is here. They were just keeping things balanced until the owner comes. When the owner is here, they leave. And so when a person sees that he's being distracted because he was getting close to something real, don't leave. Don't say, okay, fine, it didn't work out. No, this is the time to wake up. This is real. You're interacting with life itself. This is your eternity that you are negotiating for. And so give it heart, make it real. Because then he gains access to the yichud, he gains access to the unification. The unification is the place where Creator gives more to creation. And when it happens to the individual, that's a metaphor. Everything that happens to the individual is a metaphor. And according to the metaphor that happens to the individual, that's how the collective receives life. According to how we all do it, according to how we all receive life, that's how the Shekhinah receives life. And so this interaction, this is as real as it gets. And this interaction is at the root of the relationship between Creator and creation. We're driving the relationship between Creator and creation. We're the most intelligent within creation, and therefore we get to drive the relationship. And this relationship is a metaphor for all relationships. Or rather, all relationships are a metaphor for this relationship. Because this is at the root of everything. And so according to how we know how to be in relationships, that's how well we might help the Shekhinah with her relationship. The Shekhinah has a major relationship issue. It's not just here on this planet that we have relationship issues. There's a much bigger relationship issue going on that we here on this planet are supposed to learn how to solve. And we have plenty of ways to practice. Each one of us is a member that we can practice with. We can even practice with ourselves. That's the first relationship we have to get straight. And from there, everything else unfolds. If the relationship with ourselves is not right, then there's no way we're going to have a good relationship. It's not possible, because we're not a proper member of a relationship. And our relationships are what reflect on the ultimate relationship. How we see is what decides how much is the holy side in charge, which is the side that loves life and wants to give us good and kindness and pleasure and everything that we appreciate, and how much is the other side in charge that wants to give us the opposite of everything. It's us, it's our das that decides. It's our das that created the split between the Tov and the Ra, and since then it never stopped, nothing changed. Our das has been deciding every generation. And it won't ever stop. What's going to stop is that we're not going to use our das anymore the same way. We're not going to create evil in our das. That's what's going to stop. But it's never going to stop that our das is in charge of reality. That's never going to change. שמעתם מוירי ז"ל, בפרש הפוסק תוכן ליבם תקשיב אזנך. ורוצה לומר כי סימן זה מוסר ביד האדם, שאם נזדמן שיוכל להוכן ליבה לספל לפונו ויסברך שמוי, בלי שום מחשב עזר על כפונם ובתחילו רחימו כל אחד לפי מדרגוסי, אז ידע כי נסקב לתפילה הוא. So it says, your heart knows if what's being said is coming from the right place or it's coming from the wrong place. Your heart knows if what you're saying is being received or it's just being said, because it depends on your heart mostly. And so Tochen Libam, if you see that you said a prayer and your heart was in it, know that it means that your heart knew this one is accepted, so that's why it gave itself over to it. The ability to focus and feel is a sign of acceptance. And so everybody has their own limits. Obviously, for each person, some people, in every prayer, they have a very deep intention. And so, relative to that, if suddenly they see that a prayer is really going deep, that's a sign that that prayer was meant to be received. And so we were like a channel to it. We allowed it to come through us. You prepare their hearts. Takshiv aznechot means that your ears are listening. While he's praying, he can know that the body is listening. It's from the Toldos. The more our heart is available, the more power we have spiritually. And this is why Paroi, or whoever is sitting on his throne, whoever is the one that's trying to enslave the human spirit, his phrase is, Let's give them more work, and then they'll have no time to be busy with the Spirit. And so this is constantly, this is always, in every generation. Who's Leinu? The Spirit. How do they destroy the Spirit? They don't have to kill us. They can destroy a Spirit by just keeping us busy with things that are not meaningful to the Spirit. That also destroys the Spirit. And so there were different techniques, different ways that they tried to destroy the Spirit. But in every generation they tried to destroy the Spirit, to enslave the Spirit, to keep it busy with things that are not meaningful, that have no purpose, that have no long-term benefit. And that's a waste of Spirit. The Spirit did not come here to get wasted. The Spirit has to invest itself in a place where it can keep, where the collective can keep, where it's meaningful, where it's the purpose of why it came. That sounds quite intuitive. The Spirit should spend its energy on the purpose for what it came, right? It would make sense, rather than just distracting it with other things and say, no, you do this. I know it took 9 months and you created a body and you came from other worlds, and I get it. You're a big deal. But right now you go sit there and do that for the next 20 years. If we were sane, it would sound horrible. Since we are where we are, it sounds like life. Yeah, it happens. And so the heart is a very powerful tool. The heart is the one that can actually direct the spirit of the collective. It can direct angels. It can direct the entire destiny of reality. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu proved to us. One human spirit can direct the entire destiny of humanity. And humanity is reality. Because in these dimensions, this is who there is. We reside in these dimensions to manage these dimensions. That's why we have these special tools. And so yes, there are many other dimensions, but they don't have this complexity where different things can happen based on decisions that are being made from a combination of different forces. This is very unique. We're in a very unique place in the destiny of what takes place. We're right at the top. We're in the management office. We're making very important decisions on a daily basis. And the heart is the one. The heart is the director. He's the king. Lev benefesh kemelech b'mulchama. Why isn't he mulchama? Because all the different parts have been hijacked. And the heart is trying to make sense of it all. Because it's got to decide where to give life, how much life, where it goes. Every part that gets life from the heart specifically. So the heart is spreading the life over the whole body, but it's not spreading the life over the whole body equally. No. It has a cheshbon with all the organs. Some organs are getting more, some organs are getting less. The heart has a calculation with everyone. When it gives life specifically in certain ways. The energy flows specifically according to how the relationship is with the heart. And so the heart is the Kodesh HaKadoshim. The heart is mamish, that place that gets to decide everything else. And this is exactly where the war is taking place. The war between good and evil, what are they fighting over, good and evil? They all want the heart. Good wants the heart in order to create more life, and evil wants the heart in order to destroy more life. They both want the heart. And so therefore, he says, the heart is so crucial that if you have the heart, don't worry about the ear. Of course he's listening. Tochen libam, you have the heart, you came with the heart. Takshiv aznecha, of course he's listening. He's always listening. The part that's always missing is that there's no heart. That's what they want to steal from us. This is our biggest weapon. What's the weapon of the Bnei Esav? A cheref. Yadayim Yedei Esav. What's the weapon of Yaakov? A koil kol Yaakov. The koil is from the heart. He can speak from the heart. That's our weapon. If we can speak from the heart, we have a weapon. If we can't speak from the heart, we have no weapon. Then he wins. His weapon is stronger if we have no weapon. That's why Chazal say, Im hakol kol Yaakov, ein ha'yadayim yedei Esav. If Yaakov has his koil, if Yaakov has access to his heart, ein ha'yadayim yedei Esav, nobody's going to hurt you, don't you worry. But im ein hakol kol Yaakov, if Yaakov forgets his voice, then everybody thinks they're a big deal. Then there's no order. When there's chaos, evil starts rising. No one to keep them in check. There's no longer any intelligence that confirms to us what's supposed to be taking place. No one knows what's true and what's not true, but maybe like this, but maybe like that. But he said, nobody didn't hear what he said. But did you see what it says in here? What it says over there? Did you read this? Did you like? There's no truth. It's all he say, she say, her say, but nothing real. Why? There's no kol Yaakov. There's no one who is listening to the heart. The voice is disconnected from the heart. Then Yadayim Yedei Esav. Everybody's getting hurt. Everything is based on the Yadayim. Everything is based on the Maisim. Everything is based on the Olam HaChitzoni. There's no seeing of heart. There's no seeing of soul. Everything erased. Did you do? Can you prove it to the senses? If the senses didn't see it, it didn't happen. That's Yadayim Yedei Esav. Kol Yaakov is something else. Something much deeper, something much more real than action. It's the intention behind the action that counts. Rachmana liba boya, that's what the Creator is looking for. He wants to hear our voice. Hashmeini es koilech, I want to hear your voice. Which voice? The one that comes from the heart. And then if the heart is directed, then the prayer is accepted. That's guaranteed. That's the nature of reality. That's just how it works. That's the process. The heart gives a command, reality listens. That's the design. So may we find access to our heart. May we learn how to speak in a way that matters. May our soul find the connection to the source that's giving it life. It's there, it's happening, but the soul needs to wake up and realize it in a way that's meaningful to it. And so then we'll awaken the big heart. We'll be back in the state of unification. Kish echad b'lev echad. And then the great soul, the power that made us all, will reveal his desire for us. His desire for how we are and for who we are and for what we are and why he wanted it this way. He'll reveal that to us when we are united. That's the only way to receive the answer of why we are the way that we are. If we'll be united, then he will reveal to us why we are the way that we are, and then we will rejoice for eternity. May it happen soon.